Good morning, everybody. Jan Hicks here of Jan Hicks Creates. I'm back with you for my second installment of what cross stitch taught me this week. Kind of like to call these mini floss tubes because I'm sharing other things from progress from this week and things I've learned this week and new stuff I got and various little tidbits, but it's not a full-blown floss tube. I just want to keep these kind of small and intimate with a little bit of stitching as well, as I know many of you do enjoy the Stitch With Me videos. I haven't done one of those in a while, so I'll do a little bit here, but there's going to be some talking and showing as well. And I want to start with what cross stitch taught me this week. My first thought about this was to call it always listen to what the dyers tell you about their product. And then I decided that it needed actually to be titled Turning a Negative into a Positive. So what are we talking about? Let me pull this needle up here, put it over here on my handy dandy little Hawaii surfboard needle minder right there. I am talking about, I'm going to raise you up just a tad so you can have a better view, not quite so up in your face. I am talking about this. This is my flourish design. I will link it below. Stitched in Mrs. Sadis Toxic Silks. And it is stitched on some of Vicki Clayton's unbleached fabric. This is a 36 count by the looks of it. So what happened here? Let me see if I can pull my iPad over and show you some pictures. As you know, I was working on getting a number of my things ready to be made into pillows. And this was supposed to be one of them. And so I didn't wash them, but I did iron them. And I use Best Press as the kind of spray starch when I'm ironing. So I did use that. But I also, when I'm doing my pillows, I like to put this fusible liner on it. Fusible linings, web lining. I don't know what the appropriate name isn't coming to me right now. But it is iron-on, and you're supposed to use a damp cloth, which I did. And the thing that I did not listen to the dyer about was the fact that this is, like I said, Mrs. Sadis silk. It is not color fast. And she had told me, if you want to wash it, make sure you wash it in cold water, because then you shouldn't have a problem with it running. Well, I was using a low heat iron. It wasn't the hottest setting, it was a low heat, but I did have to use a damp press cloth because that's what activates the fusing stuff on the back, on the lining, to get it to stick to the project, to the fabric. And this is what happened. And when I lifted up my, and again, this is close, when I lifted up my iron and saw this, well, needless to say, there were some gasps and cries and maybe some swear words. And Mike immediately came, it was a Saturday, Mike immediately came running over and said, "Oh no, what happened?" He thought I had hurt myself. It felt hurtful. So I messaged Raquel, Mrs. Sadis, and said, "You're not going to believe what I did." And I showed her the pictures. I said, "This is what I get for not listening to you." So she was cute. She said, you know, you're probably not going to like this, but I actually think it looks kind of cool with the dye running like that. It kind of reminds me of your son's paintings. And that got me to thinking, well, maybe I should experiment, because the way it was with that big blotch of dye, and that was right here, with that big blotch of dye on it, I wasn't going to use it. I don't know what I would have done with it. I wasn't going to throw it away, but I wasn't going to make it into anything. So I thought, you know, what's the worst that can happen? It's going to get, you know, it'll totally run, and maybe that will be cool. I'm going to experiment. So Raquel was like, yeah, experiment. Experimenting's always fun. So I did. I put some warm water in the sink, and I dunked this thing. And let me find the next picture. Bear with me here. So this is what I ended up with in the sink. The water turned very yellow. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm actually not seeing the dye running as much, but let me sit in here. Maybe I'll end up with a pale yellow fabric, and that would be kind of cool too. So I let it sit, and I let it sit. And when I pulled it out, I was like, huh, well, that's cleaner than it was. It didn't turn the fabric yellow. It's still kind of a pale cream. But you can see that big blotch of dye here and here got washed away. It still is a little bit here, and you can see, like, overall, there is some fading of the colors into the fabric, but it's not nearly as bad as it was over here. So this is now usable again. Who knew that when you, and I told Mike yesterday, I showed him and I told him what I was trying to do, and I said, I'm actually kind of disappointed, because what I would have loved to have kind of seen all the colors run and mix and, you know, kind of see what you come up with. I was kind of looking forward to seeing something crazy happening, but instead it's clean enough again that I can use it. So I will be making this into a little pillow at some point here when I get out my sewing machine again. So yeah, that is my story of trying to make lemonade out of lemons, but actually coming back to still having lemons and being able to use them again. I guess. Does that sound like a good analogy? Anyway, you know, you just never know what's going to happen with these things. So let me get my iPad set back up here so I can read my notes again. I do have some other pictures to show you, though. Let me show you the pictures while I'm in here. I wanted to share with you that Hicks XG Designs has made this pattern available again in her Etsy store. This is Midsummer Garden. It's one I showed you in my whip parade. She had stopped selling it for a while, but she dyed the flosses again. There's fabric available again. The pattern is available again. So it is now available again, and I will link that below. I know there were several of you interested in this at one point, so I will link that again below. This is from a subscriber. She sent me this picture, and she wants to know if anybody recognizes this, that you might know whose design it is, whose work it is, what the name is, any information. She would like to make it. But yeah, she doesn't have the chart. I guess whenever she saw this, there was no information about whose it is. So if anybody could help, let me know and I will pass that information on. Thank you very much. Okay, so the other thing I was going to share with you today is more information on copyrights. So I had asked, I'd asked several designers. One is Jeanette Douglas. There's also a Facebook group for designers on Facebook. obviously, if it's a Facebook group, Jan. Um, and so I asked the question on there about what the proper thing to do is with used charts. You know, we pass them on, we give them away. There's all the stash unloading sites. Is there something legal about that? Or is it just something that's done and is accepted? And how do the designers feel about it? And I was surprised to learn that it's actually different for different countries. In the UK, it is apparently illegal to pass on used charts, according to what one person commented. I don't know that she is a lawyer, but she did say it is the one person, one chart rule. However, I did hear from Casey Hewitt of Hewitt Hill Samplers. She is a lawyer, currently practicing in, I believe, New Hampshire and New York. And she said, in the United States, you are free to share or resell used patterns under the first sale doctrine. Once you purchase and own property, you are free to resell it. So basically, it's yours. You can do with it what you want. Designers can try to limit this through contract, but it doesn't make selling a used pattern a copyright violation. Think of all the used book stores that exist. You just can't make additional copies of a pattern. If you own one, you can sell one. You can't copy it and sell 10. And she does say she's a lawyer admitted to practice in New York and New Hampshire. And then I heard from Sarah Payne of Pain Free Crafts. And if you recall, she is one of the stores that I shared with you in my video last week. Or no, earlier this week on Tuesday. And she says, and she's agreeing, I mean, she's saying basically the same thing, but I thought the way she put this would make it easy for people to understand and remember. Assuming you got the chart as hard copy in the first place, you're fine to dispose of it how you will. It's no different than buying a book and passing it on when you've read it. In this case, it's the copy part of copyright that is the issue. You can't make a copy of it and sell that, or keep the copy and pass the original. You're maintaining the number of copies already in circulation. If you get the chart as a PDF, you cannot sell it. A PDF purchase is not a purchase of the item, it's a purchase of a license to use that item. So you purchase the one-time use license. And you can print it out and use it, but you cannot pass on the digital copy. That is a license just for you to use. You don't actually own the pattern, the design. I hope that made sense. I also heard from Karen Kirk. She is she Fox and Rabbit or Blackberry Rabbit. But anyway, she's half of the team of Linen and Threads in Australia. She says in Australia, as long as it's a legitimate chart, even though used, it can be given away or sold. So that is the legal side of it. Then, of course, there's the perfectly legitimate thought from most designers that, boy, it sure would be nice if people would just buy their own copy, right? And you can certainly grant them that. So there's nothing illegal. And I heard from, let's see, Little House Stitches. I heard from Jeanette. That is Jeanette's opinion as well. She does go on to say that it's kind of I don't know whether the correct term is double-edged sword or what. But, on the one hand, like me passing on my Cozy into Winter, one of Jeanette Douglas's designs that I finished recently. On the one hand, I may have passed it on to somebody who never has stitched a Jeanette Douglas design. And in this way, I am promoting her work, introducing it to a new stitcher who may then decide, oh, it's starting to rain. Who may then decide that she falls in love with Jeanette's designs and wants to do more. So in that way, it becomes a promotional item. And of course, that is a good thing. But there's also the whole, I would like it if people would buy my charts, because it takes an awful lot of charts for designers to really make a living at this, for the ones that are trying to make a living at it. So there's definitely both sides of the story. You can decide individually which you feel is right for you. I personally believe in passing on my charts. Obviously, I do it in every video because I believe in recycling. To me, this is part of the recycling world and effort that I live in. I'm not going to keep the charts. My space is limited here, so I believe in getting rid of things that we don't use anymore. But neither do I have the heart to throw them away. I just can't. So I do believe in passing them on. And I do sincerely hope that in doing so, I am promoting the designers and introducing new people to their works. Because, of course, everybody that I stitch, I absolutely love, and I want to spread the joy of their gorgeous work. So anyways, I have found this to be a very interesting, I think a very good discussion for many of you. Many of you, I think, learned a lot from it. I did want to say, there were a couple of you that mentioned that you bought, or at least saw for sale, patterns torn from magazines. And in one instance, I believe you said that the price that was being asked, I don't know whether it was the 15 euros or 15 pounds. It was one of the European currencies. An outrageous amount for one pattern from a magazine. I've seen magazines, if people want to resell their magazines for maybe $1 or $2 US, to see somebody trying to charge that kind of amount, unless it's like a pattern that's highly sought after and the magazine is out of print and that design can't be found any other way, and maybe it's a bigger pattern with multiple, like across multiple issues of a magazine. Maybe I'm stretching here, I really am. Otherwise I can't see it. So those are my thoughts on copyright. I'm glad you guys have found that useful. Again, if you have more questions, something else I haven't answered, please do let me know. I am more than happy to go to other people and ask the question when I don't know the answer. So let's see, this weekend, Mike and I are leaving this afternoon to go out camping in our little pop-up trailer. We're going over to a state park to the west of San Antonio. I think it's on the Frio River. So we're hoping for some nice, peaceful walks along the river and some pretty happy snaps. And I would like to get some sunset photos. It's been a while since I've been able to shoot any sunsets. So that would be fun. But we're just looking forward to getting away. I am having a heck of a time deciding what charts to take with me, what to work on. I'd like to take this one to get the border done. We're only going for, leaving today and coming back Sunday, so it's not like we're gone for that length of time. I'm definitely going to take this one. La vie est belle. You can see I got all the flowers done on the left-hand side of the bird. So pretty. So I'd like to get, there's pretty much the same amount of flowers, or, this whole side over here has flowers and branches. So I'd like to get that done this weekend. So I'm definitely taking that. May take this, definitely taking hoity-toity, and I'm taking my knitting because I'll be knitting on the drive because it is a much easier thing to do while driving. So I think that's it. Sorry for the yawn there. I think that is it. I need to get going, get this uploaded. I hope you guys have a lovely weekend. Remember, la vie est belle and so are you. I love you guys. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.